Hi, it's Tom with Digital Foundry with a look at Diablo 3's PS4 Pro support. According to the game's latest patch notes, update 1.15 adds 4K support for the console, which on the surface could really mean anything. After all, Overwatch only adds a 4K UI to PS4 Pro right now, plus a few visual enhancements, and so I wondered if this might be the case for Diablo 3 as well. Thankfully, Blizzard does go a lot further for this one, and the game uses PS4 Pro's resources in a far more satisfying way. Let's start with the resolution. Diablo 3 uses a dynamic resolution on PS4 Pro, adjusting image clarity based on how taxing a scene is. So for example, you get a true native 4K for indoors areas like the New Tristram Tavern and even the Cathedral Dungeon with no enemies in sight. A full native 3840 by 2160 resolution is the upper bounds on PS4 Pro when faced with really basic environments. It's excellent news for 4K screen owners and a great use of the hardware while keeping that 60fps target in check. But how about the lowest resolution? Well, the worst case scenario shows resolutions drop to 1080p. Yes, with a maelstrom of effects and a screen filled with enemies, Diablo 3's renderer scales back down to 1920 by 1080 on PS4 Pro. Of course, that's with a level 70 character running through a hectic Nephilim rift, and it really represents the lower bounds of what you can expect. In practice, that dynamic resolution actually rests in between 1080p and 4K for most of gameplay. You get 1872p in the centre of New Tristram, for example, and 1728p in the earlier dungeons. Essentially, it scales up and down so seamlessly and uses a swathe of different resolutions that are typically much higher than the standard PS4's 1080p. So a dynamic resolution that runs the gamut from 1080p to 4K and everything in between. The good news is this PS4 Pro res boost sticks out and makes great use of Ultra HD displays while also targeting 60fps. Meanwhile, PS4 Pro owners outputting to 1080p displays are also well served. Diablo 3 downsamples from whatever resolution it's running at behind the scenes and gives those 1080p displays super sample anti-aliasing in the process. It's a nice bonus and leaves no one out. One curious thing I spotted is that the UI running over the top of gameplay actually isn't all 4K. Graphics elements like the ability cooldown icons at the bottom are still blurred, presumably using a regular 1080p asset. It's almost like a complete inverse to Overwatch in a way, which is updated to a 4K HUD but keeps gameplay at 1080p. Then again, Diablo 3's text elements are definitely running at a sharp 4K as you'd expect, and the same goes for the menus. Right, so that's the resolution, but does PS4 Pro boost the game's visual effects elsewhere? Given the standard PS4 already uses the top quality smooth shadows from PC, while texture maps and characters are identical to PC's best, I'm surprised to find there are some improvements on Pro. A big one is Ambient Occlusion. Check this out, along the walls of the New Tristram Inn, PS4 Pro's added Ambient Occlusion puts shade on the walls, and between objects across the scene. Compared to the standard PS4, it's one of those upgrades that you might not realise is there when switching to Pro, but it's a really nice extra that taps into the hardware more than I'd expected. There's another boost too in this very same spot, Enhanced Bloom. Notice how candles and even lanterns now have a stronger halo effect. Light sources across the world are affected, and though PS4 Pro's alpha effects quality generally matches the standard PS4, this added bloom over the top is a definite improvement. Paired with the dynamic resolution that goes up to 4K and the extra ambient occlusion, patch 1.15 brings the goods for PS4 Pro users. Another bit of good news is how frame rates hold up on PS4 Pro. Now, I've no point of reference for the standard PS4 as it stands right now, but I can show you the state of performance on Pro when pushed. Again, these are the more intense Nephilim Rift areas using our level 70 character, and 99% of the time you will be looking at a straight 60fps line. Ultimately, where there are more demanding battles, it's the dynamic resolution that drops to keep frame rate smooth, rather than the other way around. The net result of that is, it's rare to get any frame rate problems, but you do lose some image clarity during big battles. Not to say it's entirely perfect on this front. You will experience the odd one-off stutter or streaming hitch as you first enter a dungeon, but overall the performance level is really solid. The only significant drop on PS4 Pro kicked in during a 3-person game, which caused it to practically cap itself to a near 30fps for a few seconds. It's a sign of the double buffer VSync method used here, which halves the frame rate at any sign of GPU strain. That is the worst I've come across, and it's very possible you'll be able to push it harder with high level characters and 4 players, but as a general level of performance, Diablo 3 runs really well on PS4 Pro. It's one of the best uses of the hardware we've seen to date, scaling as it does up to a native 4K with added bloom and ambient occlusion effects. Put this one down as one of the more successful Pro patches out there. Anyway, I'll leave you with the rest of the footage here. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We've also got a Patreon at digitalfoundry.net where I've uploaded the source file to this 4K video if you're interested. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.